Both these
So
teams
this
are
is
very
going to be
much,
actually a really good game
expecting
too.
this,
I know
I
we're
guess.
looking
Like,
for the
we have
Navi
countries
versus
we want to
Pro
prioritize.
game.
We don't care if
But,
we
like,
get yours. But for PULSAR, win this
Ballas
and you're in playoffs
against,
for RAD. You have a little
like,
bit more pressure on
Crazy
you as you
Kitty
need to
and
go up against
Smash. Yo,
Lions.
this
But
is a good matchup,
a game
chat.
of the ages. PULSAR looking on fire in stage one.
This is going to be
RAD
a
wanting to
really,
show that they're
really
not
good
just a
matchup.
one-trick pony.
Well, Ballas going to be running out on the Elsa. We got to see a lot of his performance on that
Okay,
hero
let's see
in
this. Can Emily
preseason.
just take
We
over?
also got to see
Shannon.
Smashers play a whole bunch too,
Shannon,
as
do me a
RAD
favor.
have opted for Angela to be able to interfere with the Ultron, not having the Phoenix, not having the Star-Lord. They know that PULSAR want to have
Also,
an Ultron
production,
play, and they
there's
want
no
to take it
sound,
out.
by the way. There we go. Thank you. See, production watches my stream.
Ballas over on the Elsa. We've seen a lot more play, but I think that's just mostly because the Jean Grey has been taken out in this front. But it's going to be matched on either side with Crazy Kitty over on the Black Cat, hoping to bring a little bit more bad luck on the side of PULSAR. And their chances of making playouts. First Blood goes over towards Twitzy, though, with a little bit of help with the Elsa from Ballas, who's going to try and leap into the fray, fighting off these players on the high ground. And RAD, just off of that one pick alone onto Vertigo, happy to actually give up the point and let it flip over to PULSAR.
Wow,
RAD can't even
PULSAR
find a trade onto
PULSAR
Lapsus Attilas, who
taking
just
the
uses
first.
regeneration domain, then Ballas is able to peel for his Loki.
Wow. Listen. I still don't think RAD is going to
There is a big thing
lose.
that we have to talk about, and it's the fact that Ducky was able to actually farm up Banhammer within the first
Who are you
fight,
supporting
soaking
between
all of
Na'Vi
his
and Virtus,
damage
bro?
into
I
the
think
Vanguard
Navi's going to
and
win.
preserving his life. So they still have the ultimate. Lapsus Attilas likely has to react with regeneration domain, since PULSAR do not have a strategist ultimate. Running triple strategist cannibalizes the ult charge.
But that's the next game, chat. We're on the first game.
Later than you'd expect with the Deadpool in the 7. Blair's actually held onto it. No real need to use it after the picks that he got initially. So it's going to be traded out. See the damage taken away just from the harassment that is coming in from one of the latest Vanguards to be added. But it's actually Blair that finds the pick again onto Lugia. It feels that RAD, they're only losing a couple of players in these small droves, but it's forcing these big resets, and it's put PULSAR to 50%.
RAD are on mystery heroes at the moment. Lugia's rolled out on Angela. That didn't work. Then he went Cap. Now he's coming through on Venom to be able to have the team up. Symbiotic shenanigans with the Jeff as well. So a little bit
3
of
different
extra
tanks already in the...
survivability when looking for the hit into the back line. But that means that PULSAR have ultimates to be able to play with, and they'll open up with one of their own instantly. Rage of Ultron coming on through from Twitzy. Smashnets trying to offset the momentum with the Apex Predator, but that just gets fully shut down, and Ballas finds the battle.
Wait.
But Ballas is just coming in with
he
his
missed
own
his...
Glortrox. It's a little bit more of a leaner Predator to go in for the fight. And the
Bro,
picks are there
RAD
the
is
same,
getting
and
dominated
whilst
right
it's
now,
seeming like
chat.
this fight is, again, just going to die down. There's not really much chance for RAD to go and
Dude.
fight this. They might have to switch over to Strange.
What
to
is
contest,
going
but you can already
on
see
from
that Ballas,
RAD?
The rest of the team looking in position to get that information. Doesn't look like it's going to be dedicated here, but it is going to be tight on touching the point.
Do RAD try to go for this?
Oh
Smash
my!
Nets onto the
This
side,
guy's
to have
this
a little
guy's
bit of
aim
extra
right now, and
mobility as
he's
well as the
so
opportunity to
disgusting
try
on this
shred down
character.
this Ultron, but Mash has already used the It's Jeff, which means that when Crisis uses, oh no. I was about to say, when Crisis uses Invisible Boundary, you don't have to worry about playing inside it, but if you're RAD, you do have to worry about actually being on the point, as no one touches, and PULSAR complete a very dominant 0 to 100%.
I get this feeling every time I seem to watch RAD on Domination, especially for like the frontline tanks. Like, sure, you don't really care about Devil Dinosaur. You don't want to build around it that much.
Why would you
That's
play
fine. That's
Angela
understandable almost.
in a
No
fucking
eliminations.
tournament? It makes
No
no
eliminations
sense.
on the side of RAD.
No
Yeah,
eliminations,
he went
bro.
there 3 times, switch heroes, it was a problem. But this seems to always happen. Like the Vanguards, whether it's Lugia or Ducky, it is just a sort of musical chairs of which Vanguard gonna. They change it so frequently. When Rogue was meta, they were like in and out of playing it. They wanted to throw some Hulk or the thing in. It always seemed to be this like panic, like switching very
PULSAR
quickly,
has
but they never
16% of the
felt like they
vote, by
got
the way.
any
RAD
cohesion.
has 84%.
Well, PULSAR also healed, I think, a total of around about 13,000 amounts of damage. And the fact that RAD weren't really having cohesive dives meant that the damage just was not enough to be able to break
Oh
through
my
the
god,
triple
dude.
strategist
No, I am
uptime,
losing
and
faith
crucially for
right now.
PULSAR
I'm
as
losing
well,
faith
it
in
means that
RAD.
they
If
start
RAD
this
does
first
not
fight
win this round,
with
chat,
2
I'm losing
ultimates
faith.
on strategists, good to go to be able to match fate of both worlds coming on through.
Crazy
Vertigo,
Kitty
as
got
RAD
off
moved away from
the
dive,
Black
they're looking to
Cat
just brute
and
force the
went
Elsa 1v1 with the
damage
Mantis
boost.
damage boost.
But it's not
Mantis.
Elsa 1v1 anymore as Ballas has switched over to the one-sided Jean Grey. Now the Lunar Star is going to bring out that fate of both worlds.
His
and
aim
Rad
is
trying to
crazy right now.
prioritize the Black Cat. Haven't really got a good chance to use it. They're going to have to try and use the one-sided Mantis instead, which is still pretty good, you'd say. But the elimination's still going away to Twitzy. He's at least finding the final hits. But this time it's looking like a bit more of a trade. Ensong Inferno leaping down to make sure that those regeneration domains, the lamps are very clearly snuffed out in flames, whilst Lapsus Sortilas is able to get the copy over on the invisible boundary. More of a brawl, more what we expected in this first fight in the second point, Moxie, and Ryder having to use everything to try and make this a close one. Even finding the pick over towards Ballas is going to force PULSAR to respect this a little bit more than the first objective.
Okay,
Brilliant
Devil Dinosaur.
Lugia,
When in doubt, dinosaur it out. I mean, obviously. Okay, Rad. Okay, they woke up.
Invisible boundary
They woke up.
advantage for PULSAR would have been absolutely huge, considering
Emily's gonna be
Lapsus
rich.
was able to
Boba
offset
don't need to
Vertigo's
sell
ult
his
with the
paw
low-key
picks.
cooldown,
Are you?
as opposed to using an
What are
ultimate
you
of their own. So
doing?
if the fight went long, Crisis having an additional
Are you
invisible
selling my
boundary
cat's
should have
feet
allowed them
pics?
to overcome the damage that Rad could do. But the Dino takes the Invis out of the fight and out of a position to be able to use the ult. Lapsus Sortilas now swaps onto the rocket, so if you sort of lose someone early in this combo of Strangling Prison Apex Predator, you should be able to bring them back and continue taking this fight as Twitzy moves over to a hero that we've seen him
I really
actually
like this
go
orange.
multiple times so far this meta, the Moon Knight.
It seems to be becoming more and more prevalent.
Moon Knight.
Rad switching over to mirror the composition with triple strategist to PULSAR, and PULSAR switched to the dive that Rad were running beforehand. So the mind games are plenty here. It's invisible boundaries actually forced out quite early from PULSAR Esports. Looking at them like they do find that pick, so they're going to take it. And whilst the Elsa sort of screams out with the Glortrox, and it's interrupted actually. Smash This is not going to get the chance to use it. The copy has to go over for the fate of both worlds. And
No,
Twitzy
come on,
finds
Rad.
himself too, one of
What are
which was
we,
the Elsa
Rad?
that had to
What are
put
we
the
doing here?
Glortrox
I
back
do.
into the
My
back
favorite
pocket
thing so
and give
far
up the
is
spot
how
the first time.
PULSAR is playing, though.
Yes, it was a very
PULSAR,
early invisible boundary, but
like PULSAR is playing a comp, Rad switches to counter them. Rad wins a fight, PULSAR switches to counter Rad, and like this is some smart Marvel Rivals chat. Are we going to be turning into what Overwatch the counter fest?
And Ballas can look for an opportunity of having Ensong Inferno just off its own, dodging away from Ducky's ultimate and keeping up the pressure.
Rampage is coming in, and you've got a Hand of Conscience that's just come online, but he's got to hold it. I mean, this is an awful place for Rad to be stuck if you've got a Moon Knight ultimate potentially coming in, but the picks are still through, and Rad falling into the same traps despite being on a more, like, standard composition with keeping your team alive. They lose the picks, and they have to sort of reset again.
Crazy Kitty.
Yeah, farming time.
Wait. Crazy Kitty got off the Mantis and went Ultron, and now someone else switched to the Mantis.
Ultron, and we can go in with that since PULSAR don't have a brilliant answer to it. You can't use Hand of Control on the Ultron because he's just going to be in the air. Blur will apply a little bit of disruption, trying to stall up Rad's players, catching them in one position with Feast of the Abyss, but there goes the Rage of Ultron, and Crisis is already down as Lugia swapping onto the cap, flanked all the way around the back, and hit PULSAR's back line, but BRB brings him back, and PULSAR are able to actually win out the trades because of it.
Yeah, Rad now trying to go in and fight on this one as it's getting towards the latter stages for PULSAR to be winning on Krakoa. Hand of Conchu was held for a while for Twitzy. He could have built another one up in that time that he had it, but he wanted to save it for the right occasion. Not going to lead to a pick, but it does get a little bit more of that aura out from Rad as another strategist ultimate was used. Smash There's now switching over to
No, chat,
briefly,
bro,
just as he's coming
bro,
back, he started to
bro,
lose the rest
bro.
of his team now
The
that he's
curse,
managed to set
no,
up and
there's no
sparks are
curse.
flying from Ballas
What
on the
is
Jean
Rad
Grey.
doing, bro?
What is the answer here for Rad? Like, you'll try to lead with Freedom Charge, Vertigo swaps onto the White Fox so you have more team-up survivability, but oh no, Mash gets picked early. That's devastating. Vertigo has to go for the Strange, but because there's no one in place
dude, Rad is not looking like their team right now, bro.
Or the touch for
Rad,
and PULSAR complete the 2-0.
Rad pretty much on the fence, it feels like here, like maybe outdrafted in a sense.
Rad
PULSAR
is
knew how
not
they wanted
playing
to play
like
it. They made
Rad
the
right now.
adjustments at the
Rad
right
is playing
time,
like they're
but Rad
completely
now have the
lost,
choice to
bro.
take us to a map. It has been Jallier consistently, but we'll have to see
First
if
of
there's
all,
going to be a couple more
Crazy
curveballs in this
Kitty.
one.
No.
PULSAR
Crazy
are gonna
Kitty
make
is
it
not
to
even
playoffs,
going
we'll have to
crazy
wait
right
and see
now.
after this break.
It's just Kitty. And then, dude, what's going on, man? Lugia, listen, I won a tournament with Lugia. But why are we going Angela? Angela is one of the worst tanks right now in Marvel Rivals? Why are we going the worst tank? Nah, man. Nah. Yeah, Mash, Mash was on that team, yeah, but I do not even understand what's going on right now.
Hey guys, my name is Ryan Central and welcome back to What's the Meta. We're more than halfway through the group stages of Stage 1 across the Ignite globe at this point, and the meta footprint that Devil Dinosaurs left us has settled somewhat, so according to the data, what are the teams discovering? We have to talk about what stayed the same, and the top two kings of the meta are still exactly the same. Gambit is pretty much the priority when it comes to a first ban.
It's crazy how Gambit is still strong.
We've spoken about him enough. We all know why.
That's wild.
And Devil Dinosaur is still number 2. Teams are protecting Devil Dinosaur because everybody else is.
Wait, I'm gonna go wash dishes, chat. Don't trust Jay's predictions. Be good.
Pretty decent win rate. So
I didn't even get my prediction wrong. They won the map. Who cares? Rad could still bounce back and win the next 2 games, chat.
He's very good at shutting down some of the more like brittle duelists that want to be a little bit more
Jay,
divey.
I turned 24
and so he's just a
yesterday.
great character to sort of put in the middle of the map and honestly just build around. With the damage that
Hope
he
you had a
deals, the
great
damage
birthday,
that he
my
blocks,
friend.
and just the way that he's able to stall and fight on objectives. Yeah, Devil Dinosaur is pretty good and one of your mainstay vanguards for the time being. That's all standard. We could see that in the games that we saw last week, but what has actually changed? When it comes to big winners, there's none more so than Rocket Raccoon. He didn't just become more popular, teams discovered just how to win with him with how he plays. Obviously, he's been buffed over the last couple of seasons, is looking really good. The likes of Be Right Back as just an ability are very useful in these like long drawn out team fights where it gets hard to eliminate anybody because you've got the likes of Devil Dinosaur. Get a pick on Devil Dinosaur, or Be Right Back instantly brings him back into the fray. Yeah, it's going to be frustrating. The team up with Star-Lord is obviously very good because Star-Lord got buffed. And the fact that Rocket is very good with his survivability. The fact that
I trusted Jay and now I'm going to lose 10,000.
Try to eliminate him and he's able to sneak
You know
out.
what?
Goes to show a lot of what the strategists
I hope PULSAR wins just because everyone that voted for me and is now blaming me loses their points, bro.
A key thing to win
I don't want you guys to have points anymore, man. The game is not over until it's over. When you guys play a ranked game and you lose the first fight, do you call it GG's and try to forfeit? No. Stop having that weak mental, chat.
Priority, but also a ban priority too. And
Rad can still
when one
win.
team gets him and the other one doesn't is pretty high. One of the highest that we've seen so far. Like almost 2/3 of the time.
No, man.
So yeah, he's good. And because Rocket got stronger, one of the characters that benefits from him the most and is also pretty good answer
My
to him
teammates
got
do?
too.
Yeah,
That
but your
being
teammates
Phoenix,
don't
Gray.
represent
He's
you,
very good at
chat.
destroying the deployables
If
with
your
their
teammate
ultimate.
goes
He
1 kill and
benefits from
15
Rocket's
deaths,
resources.
that also
Damage
represent
boosted
you?
to a solo Jean Grey when you're running triple strategist is a great way to actually find eliminations in high sustain. And he just synergizes really well with Phoenix as pretty much become one of the major options for a duelist outside of Star-Lord. Now that Elsa's sort of fallen out of the fray. And because these two have shot up in popularity, some of the other options that were trying to contest them have fallen down a little bit in the choice order. And one of the major ones actually for losers is Black Cat. She remains a popular hero for teams, but we're not seeing teams nearly spend as much like capital guaranteeing access to her. Her protect cost, she was a common like, we want to protect this character so it doesn't get banned.
That is crazy, bro.
One-side it if we can. That
Jay has
really
a wall of shame for chat, so Jay should get a cone of shame.
Like under 50%. If a team gets Black Cat and the other team doesn't, they don't win the majority of the time because other stuff is banned out as an option. So Black Cat just isn't providing that much when it comes to the draft. It just seems that teams are still playing her, but they're like, there's no point protecting her because it just isn't worth it.
Yo, hey Boo Boo for 63 months. I appreciate it.
We want to get some of the other characters out that we've mentioned instead if we can. It just feels like Black Cat is fine, but she's not super strong that we need to get rid of her fine or protect her in this case. She's just not being treated as a hero that you must secure. But she's not the only one that's sort of dropped down. Like White Fox's popularity has gone down, Captain America's popularity has gone down, Luna even, who's quite high up in the rankings, has dropped a good chunk. As Ultron, who isn't seen half
and then
as
none of the
much so
teammates
far.
turned
Not because
around.
they're
That's
objectively
crazy.
worse characters. It's just because Rocket and Jean Grey are demanding a lot more attention from teams. and that sort of attention needs to come from somewhere.
Nah.
I am really curious to see what
Emily
we see
should
in,
put
like,
her
the
picks
last week
on the
groups,
right board too,
considering
the
at least
way
for like
the
EMA
chat
in
can
America,
enjoy
there's a
success.
month, we're gonna have
Emily
Cyclops
votes
in the
everything
game
that
when we
I
get to
don't
stage
vote
one
because
playoffs.
it's
so the meta is going to change
she
a lot.
apparently
so I'm
hates
excited to see
me.
what this last week of action
Also,
is
just
going
want to let you
give
guys
us
know,
before
Emily
we
did
go
win
into
Monopoly
season
last night.
8.5.
We played
I
Monopoly
hope you found
after
this
stream.
interesting. Thanks
She
for watching,
cheated, of
and
course.
Let's get back to the action.
She kept taking money from the bank, but for free, and it wasn't hers. But she, you know,
dominant seems to be
she
a bit
beat
of
me.
an understatement of a word for what we saw from PULSAR Esports against RAD in that first map on Krakoa. Looked insane in the first bits, had a little bit of a struggle meta-wise, I guess, in terms of composition towards the second point, and then they
Yo,
locked
does
in
100 Thieves
afterwards.
have games today?
Your segment
Yes.
that we saw during the break
Against
here, Ryan,
Swamp
I gotta
Gaming.
go to you again on it. What's the meta
I wonder
with
if
RAD
Swamp
in this
Gaming
matchup?
wins.
Lord knows, really. I think it's here. It's the fact
Is it
that one team
because
is able
of
to get a one-sided
exchanged
rocket and a Jean Grey in any stretch. It doesn't
shrimp
matter
eggs?
what I say when it comes to like what RAD are being able to prioritize. Those two alone seem to be the two main ones to gun for. They're not going to be the highest priority as like a Gambit or even a Devil Dinosaur or Black Cat could be. But
if you guys
your
are
team
ever
has it
wondering
and the other
what
team
the games
doesn't,
are,
we already
just
went
type
over the
exclamation
stats.
mark
It's very much leaning towards having
exclamation
the
mark
rocket there.
MRI.
Even with like Mantis
pretty
being
sure-
one-sided and Luna,
pretty
it didn't
sure
seem to
all the
matter
matches
because there
and
was no
stuff are
like
there.
picks happening at all on the side of RAD.
What's up,
No,
mister?
it didn't matter at all. And what did matter for the side of PULSAR, MVP-wise here, Moxie, is just the damage and also decimation we saw from them against the other team.
Yeah,
20 kills, 1 death, 20,000 damage, and only took 3,000 damage. They've only done 3,000 damage to Ballas.
Spam damage meant that even though they got
He had a
one-sided Mantis to
58%
bolster up
accuracy.
the Elsa, as we discussed, there were no chances to develop the angles for said Elsa, so likely when we actually look at overall stats, Smash Nezzers will be fairly low.
I mean, speaking of those stats, real quick here as well. I mean, this is the craziest stat line we've seen from RAD, I'd say, on a domination so far. The least amount of final hits.
RAD went 3-5, 3-2, 4-6, 3-4.
And it just didn't seem to be enough, Moxie.
Yeah, it was like that first fight on Carousel. You can see what Crazy Kitty's thinking. He wants to target the Loki. He wants to get as much fortune as possible
10-1, 18-1, 20-1, 13-2, 4-0.
The space for him when the peel from Ballas comes through. So RAD very quickly just lose players and playing dive into retake as opposed to playing dive when you won the earlier fight and are now in a position to hold your space on a choke and jump the team when the vanguards go past. Are vastly different experiences.
I mean, we got to talk about the winning team, of course, here, Ryan. I mean, what was the big difference maker, you would say, in terms of not just necessarily composition,
Oh,
but just
apparently,
performance in this
I don't
map?
know why they don't
mean, I
do this,
really
but his
enjoy,
name
like,
is
the team on this
Blur,
team, I
but they
think. Like,
don't
it's
put the
easy,
L in
I
there for
suppose,
some
for
reason,
PULSAR Esports
which
to
makes
sort of throw
sense
that
because
backline when you have got that
after
focus
witnessing that
over
last
onto,
round,
like,
there
rocket
was no
one,
L
and
to
then
be
you've got so
found
much
for
flexibility to go
PULSAR,
for
but
other things
yeah.
if needed. It's just you missing out on Mantis and Luna, but it didn't seem to matter. RAD weren't also building around like White Fox and stuff, right? So it didn't seem that there was like those kind of moments to go for. Here it just is like Twitzy because he has been like a sub bench for like a good portion of time. They hadn't seen him play at the top level for a while now, since like the days of all business, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Can I borrow 100 million points so I can get
VIP?
VIP?
Into this team and also found
You can-
himself in a good position. as that,
channel
like,
points are
flexible
so
duelist
easy to
player
get in my
alongside, like,
stream.
Ballas. I mean, you put Crisis on Strategist, like goes to show like your duelist options.
If
are
you
good
want,
enough that
if
feel
you want to
confident
get
doing that.
100 million
Yeah, I
channel
did like
points
seeing, you know, the
easily,
swap
all you have to
from
do
the
is just
triple
literally
strategist
follow
at the
my
start then
predictions.
to more
You
of
will
the
double your
traditional
money and
2-2-2
double your
towards
money
the
and
end of
double
it. I
your
mean, the
money each
flexibility here,
time.
Moxie, really just goes to show the difference between the best teams and some teams that are still a little lacking out there.
Yeah, flexibility is an absolute must. Like, we cannot undersell that enough, especially in the ban draft, because you don't know who your opponent goes after. If you have a player who is very non-flexible and stuck in their ways in terms of the heroes that they can pick,
I
like,
lost
they will get
300K
picked on
because of
in
you.
ban
Honey
draft, so
Badger.
that you're fighting a constant 5
No,
versus
you
6.
didn't.
Ooh, okay, Ryan, talk to me a little bit
And
about
we
this
are
map
going
that
to
could spice
Spider
Island, I'm
Islands.
surprised.
We're not going to
I mean, this is the teams
museum.
are going for it. Like for RAD, like we've never seen them play it like at all this stage, and it's only like the one loss that I guess PULSAR had against PULSAR Esports, which I guess kind of like says a lot. But that was like in the very
Yeah,
early
I lost
stages,
my
I
wife
think,
because
in
of you.
The preseason groups. It was a very different PULSAR team, so a fresh face for both sides.
Well, we'll get into this map momentarily, see if RAD can bounce back, force the issue, and get us to that map 3. We'll find out after this.
I wonder at this point when we have like the Black Cat being protected and then the Dino being protected and on one side, whether just both teams just like omit it. You know what I mean? Like they just kind of go, we're not even gonna like protect.
What the hell? I'm losing my hair because of Jay. I lost that guy's wife because of you. I lost my house due to Jay. I lost my car. I lost my virginity because of you, Jay.
Yeah,
What?
Spider Island's a very strong map for flanks, very, very good for dive, as PULSAR will be able to secure a rocket ban. Now, do they go for the save on Dino so that they have the opportunity to play the front line, but also peel the Black Cat? Yes, they do.
You just redeemed 1,000 channel points to say I paid for this message with the money I won from following Emily and not you.
If they don't, I fear it might be just more of the same. Bass being able to go absolutely burr, as there's the Phoenix ban, but it's on PULSAR's end, not RAD, as they target out the Mantis instead.
It's looking like the bans are pretty much going to be the same, just again like that protection of the Ultron, which Twitsy's been very much sat on comfortably. You start to see it all like coming to the fray now. Right here, it's a different order. Like last time they did ban out the Star-Lord last time, and with the rocket being banned, it seems like that would be a good thing to do here. I'd imagine that would be like the reigning option, unless they feel like just making sure that the rocket is out of play is going to be big.
Ooh,
Invisible Woman, yeah, they're going to have to crisis a little bit more.
Yeah, you know how I said literally 5 seconds ago, if you have a player who is not flexible at all in the characters that they can play, one thing that you can do is just hard go after them in the draft, and that's exactly what they have now done.
That is exactly why you guys should be flexible, chat. Being flexible is the best thing that you could possibly do in ranked and for yourself. So you cannot get banned out.
And RAD still have plenty of options open to play a very heavy damage burst potential composition, which can break the res cycle before it comes through, because Loki is actually still available.
I can put my leg in my neck. Well, that's very flexible, but why are you going to put your leg in your neck? I don't think that's good. You can put it around your neck. Or like behind your neck,
like the Ultron Protect,
but like
be a bit of a fail-safe that if we do
I don't know if you should be putting your leg in your neck.
This is the first time that a team has done this.
Unless you're talking about like you are very flexible, you can pull your leg all the way to your mouth and then like swallow your whole foot, and so that's like it's in your neck.
A little bit of like crossover, but maybe that protects on.
Because if you could do that, yo, can you send me a video? I kind of want to see that. It's very impossible.
Has the freedom to do it, and with Twitsy locking over to the Star-Lord, it really is just a question of what is Crisis going to play.
Yo, Woods with the massive gifted sub. Absolutely insane.
Because
appreciate
you're able
it.
to secure the Star-Lord. And you don't really want to go for an Ultron look when RAD went for a save onto Star-Lord themselves.
Okay,
so,
let's see this.
RAD starting off in the attack,
that's rough for PULSAR. No Mantis, no Luna, no Invis. Yeah, but they still got Rocket. Rocket is still very good, and then a lot of teams are running that Loki with the Rocket. Basically like what they're doing right now, and then you just have like that double amplifier, and not only can you copy the... You could also copy someone from the other team, which was only going to be, you know, their Mantis, but you can copy the Rocket, and not only can you copy the Rocket and get the ult chat, but you can copy Rocket and get the res beacon. So if someone dies, you can res them too.
To make those series a little bit more closer in proximity between Reason Gaming and Shikigami. But PULSAR Esports trying to fight back on this defense, and RAD trying to draw this line with this comp, wanting to go at least for a little bit more of that leap in. And Lugia starting on the Angela. We saw a lot of switch rounds last time. At least he's playing on it a little bit longer than last.
Okay, something we absolutely have to talk about is the fact that RAD are playing Mantis in a double strategist line. Now, this is something that people have theorized is actually viable off of the amount of headshots that you can secure from Dino, meaning you're constantly refreshing your Mantis resources. But we'll have to see if there's enough sustainability of both the Mantis Loki and the Vibrant Vitality team up to keep RAD's players up when PULSAR decide to get
I don't want to be that guy, but what are we doing, bro? Why are we playing Angela?
Doesn't have that much to mitigate the damage. But speaking of which, Blur has brought out the Ban Hammer to allow PULSAR to try and go for a counter-attack, or at least suppress these angles that RAD are trying to carve open. If it isn't the Crazy Kitty on the Black Cat, it might be the Angela, but Crazy Kitty has found that pick onto the Lapsus.
Bro, what are we...
The fray at the moment. And
wow,
the
he actually got bailed out by the Mantis.
Vesco comes in to help a little bit of Lugia over on the Angela, and the saving grace of the Angel might have actually forced this to the first checkpoint.
Yeah, that's first just picked up. RAD play it absolutely masterfully. Lugia on the Angela baits the attention of like 3 players.
I am very excited that RAD won that point very fast, but I still don't understand the Angela pick, and I actually cannot believe that PULSAR lost that when they're going against an Angela.
The Loki rocket, because there's not any opportunity for a 6 versus 6 brawl. They simply pick apart PULSAR with the Mantis damage boost and scattering the split.
RAD also just getting the full.
Maybe because of the speed boost, Angela could be a speed demon. Okay, if Angela is a speed demon, who are you killing on the other team? They got off Devil Dinosaur, but you're not gonna take Devil Dinosaur off.
Ignore in the case of PULSAR. Another pick goes the way of the attacking side of RAD. And Crazy Kitty is sort of shown why the priority is there. The BR back is also going to be broken to make sure that nobody can come back from PULSAR to try and contest this. And really, it's pretty much the inverse of what we saw in Domination. PULSAR constantly losing the fights. They have to back off. And Crazy Kitty is completely shoved them all the way back.
Yeah, PULSAR trying to work out how they want to be able to peel this dive. Like, DRP can play very frontline heavy. He's not going to be able to help his backline because Rajas have too much mobility. They will run circles around DRP by the time he's able to catch up to his backline. So, Lapsus off of the Loki onto the White Fox. No Luna team up, but you do still have Spectral Surge to be able to charm your opponents. As Blur sets things in motion with the Banhammer coming through. Crisis setting up the Cosmic Yawn Amplifier around a corner, so Red have a hard time breaking it. But what they do have a Strangling Prison plus Soul Resurgence and a Galactic Legend when PULSAR run out of all of those survivability options. DRP unfortunately too far away.
Just kill point. Just kill point. They're so far away. Kill point.
Ultimate. And off of the back of that, Rad will be able to secure a second.
Yo.
Gold from PULSAR, all things considered, even through the Galactic Legend Strangling Prison. Nobody
5 minutes from Rad.
They ran out of juice, I suppose, and Rad still have a lot of ultimates to work with.
Also, is Emily here?
Okay.
Emily, it's downstairs, by the way.
PULSAR going for now.
I can get it.
Goes to the rocket, so Crisis can play the White Fox. I do want to see how Rad are able to deal with headed into
I still don't agree with the Angela pick.
There's a lot less opportunity for these flanks to be able to come through, and the moment that you do try to get aggressive, DRP can just shut you down with Psionic Seduction. So we're currently seeing Lugia just dual out Blur to make sure that the Venom can't get past and go pressure Rad's back line, because as we've already talked about, Mantis Loki, not a lot of reliable strong healing when your attention is diverted into multiple pockets of fights. Calling card mirrored from both of these teams. So far, no picks off of the back of it, but Rad slowly wearing down some of the spaces that PULSAR have to play with, and they just want to go first.
Nah, bro.
Sonic Seduction, Vertigo taken
That's crazy.
Down,
wait, are they wearing the new skin of Black Cat?
There's not much else to go.
Oh, I gotta analyze this game a little bit more. Chat, give me a second.
As PULSAR have actually been able to stall things out for the time being. DRP is taking a good chunk of damage, trying to survive the best that they can, and Yawn Amplifier is going to try to punish Rad for maybe overextending. That Heaven's Retribution held from Lugia for a good amount of time, and DRP now with a full charge using these clones as
production, can we go see the Black Cat real quick?
It's meant that this is more turning into the brawls that we've been seeing over the last couple of maps. The fight is a little bit more treacherous though, and now you've got the Soul Resurgence.
Yo, production, can we see Black Cat real quick?
Lugia just making sure that there's no like counter dive, that the backline is going to be safe, and Ducky has now found himself the 2 picks that he needs. One is going to be instantly brought back with the
oh, that's an ult right there. That's an ult. Get the ult. Get the ult. Get the ult going.
Much ushered over into their spawn again. Heaven's Retribution now going to be used to stop anybody from stalling, and then you've got the Galactic Legend to tidy up.
Oh, this is disgusting.
Smashness has found everybody on the
side
of
PULSAR. That guy lived with one.
Too much left to actually stop this engagement once it goes through, and it's looking like Rad on their choice of Spider Islands are going to finish it
Blur
out
went all the way
get
back to the spawn to not get healed.
Kimiko has to be used, but anything that PULSAR has, it has to come through, and they might have just been able to stall it out for a second, but the Yawn Amplifier has been copied from Rad. They now have a bit more damage output. More time is stalled. There's still a couple of players and pixels to push.
Why is he running away? Go to the point. Stall as much as you can. A few seconds is better than letting him cap. Okay.
Right into the abyss, which means that even when you go back into Fox form, you're still taking a fight versus Gravity that, unless you have a play you can
I was hating on the Angela chat, but apparently they're making it work, so I don't know, man. Stats are not important, bro.
Mantis, it worked to a point on first and second because you were able to just scatter PULSAR's attention away from taking a 6v6 brawl, but when we headed into third, it became
in the middle of a tournament, chat, stats don't matter, bro. Winning the tournament matters. Would you guys rather look good, or would you guys rather make more money? Would you guys rather go in a tournament and go 50-0 and not die a single game, but look like you're the best player, but come in 8th place and get $5,000? Or would you rather play as a team, have bad stats, win as a team, get first place, and win $500,000?
They actually have more healing than PULSAR.
I mean,
oh my god!
Where like RAD have been so happy to just kind of like.
This is the complete opposite of the last game. Both teams basically switched.
This case with how much of a focus it's been.
PULSAR dominated RAD last game, and RAD didn't get a single kill. Now RAD is dominating PULSAR, and PULSAR only got 2 kills.
We have contingencies for it.
Okay, PULSAR, what do you have for us on attack? Is yet again, Crisis's hero pool being fully chipped away on in the draft leaves him having to play the Adam, so they're locked in for the long haul. If RAD are playing a very burst-heavy glass cannon style composition, PULSAR are playing the 9 to 5 clock in, clock out, get the double res, triple res if you count BRB cycle up, and outlast your opponent.
I mean, the damage output that Adam can have is certainly useful, and a Loki to copy the Kamet Revival to keep everybody going is not bad. We've seen it on this map. It was egregious to actually experience and watch, but not usually on the attacking side. So RAD have pretty much drawn that line in the sand over onto third, and the defense is looking like it's the typical.
You can look good, then people like you, and you can become a streamer, then be super rich,
the
right?
difference as well is that PULSAR now
being good at a video game does not make you a great streamer, though, chat. Because you can have
It's very problematic for the dive because
I don't know, no personality,
damage they can do.
But like great gameplay.
Down. He does still have the cocoon, so if you want
and you could be a great player, but that doesn't mean people are gonna like you.
Come at the cost of playing
not everyone can be Jay3, great player,
is really making this
great personality, great hairline, very tall. Not everyone can be like that.
You'd have to say, but RAD on the attack and defense, making it work with confirming these eliminations, and that's handy when you're trying to run this dive. Ducky goes for the Strangling Prison, but it gets interrupted, though. We didn't even hear the voice line from Gru. It was good proverbial approach from PULSAR, stopping it in its tracks, and he goes down for his trouble. So PULSAR found themselves a grand opening to push this past first, just off of that stun alone.
Yeah, PULSAR also just living until now. Smashness does have Galactic Legend, but PULSAR losing Crisis.
Come on, RAD, lock it in, guys, lock it in. Just make this a full hold so we can go to match 3 and we'll be good.
Wait for the regroup before they decide to full push, and when they do, Ryan, it's a long haul fight. Mash can get a copy off onto Vertigo. Twitzy will start things off with Cosmic Ion Amplifier, and RAD tried to just break through it as quickly as possible. So Ensong Inferno does not get the amp, but it does connect onto Mash.
Oh no, they got Mash, bro. They don't have another support ult after that. The support player died.
Likely about to fall to the amount of burst damage that Phoenix Adam can do.
And they capped. Damn. Great play by PULSAR. Amplifier Phoenix does a lot of damage, chat. A lot of damage. Also, running Phoenix against to what RAD's playing is very smart, because RAD, their only 2 defensive ults are going to be a Mantis and a copy on a Mantis. Mantis gives shields. The Phoenix ult literally kills all shields and kills right through that ult.
How do you break a double comic revival cycle when you only have 3 ultimates, 4 if you can Strangling Prison to be able to play? But Strangling Prison isn't about pick potential, it's more about setup. There goes the groove, but the block.
Oh my god, got his ult cancelled and also blocked.
Perfectly placed, and RAD have to rely now on the other Vanguard crowd control ultimate. Heaven's Retribution sets up Crazy Kitty to just come through with 2 picks in neutral, but Crisis just brings everyone
Phoenix
back
is
with
better
the
than
comic
Gambit
revival.
Phoenix
Up
now.
onto the high ground they fall, and onto the low ground they drop to continue the brawl.
It means that now Lapsy Sotilas can be quite content.
I wouldn't say necessarily. They can break the amp.
So Resurgence is going to be copied over on the side of Mash.
I think
for Crazy Kitty, who held on to it, knowing that
I think Gambit Phoenix is better because not only does it like
as a riposte to counterattack onto PULSAR,
it makes the Phoenix ult go a lot faster too.
Well, the leap-in might have been a bit of an overextend.
So there's less chance if it goes faster. That means there's less time in the air for them to kill it. If that makes any sense.
He might have been jumping the gun somewhat as RAD just burn it down very quickly, push on forward with the Soul Resurgence and take all of the space away.
How would you
PULSAR.
counter the Rocket
now
Phoenix comp then?
Shoot
the Phoenix ult or shoot the Rocket ult? You could break both of them.
Will provide extra shield coverage for the players to kite away from Smashness' ultimate, because the chances of you getting Meteor M up before Galactic Legend is used are so slim.
I mean,
We've also
Gambit
seen a couple
Phoenix,
of
you can
instances
still
of the, like,
break the
Meteor
Phoenix
M
ult,
with
but
the
Phoenix ult,
unamplifier,
it
instant
zooms,
throw,
bro.
you know,
It's
get an
fast.
elimination. But there is the Galactic Legend in the sky. Soulborn trying to mitigate or at least spread out some of the damage for the strategist to deal with, but it's not going to be enough as all three strategists.
Oh my god, Smash Dance. Oh my god, Smash Dance. Oh my god, Smash Dance, bro. Oh, he stood still, he typed GG easy, and he clipped it for his Twitter. Oh no, chat.
Yeah, RAD just have so much damage. Like, you're running Loki Mantis, you don't have a lot of sustain if the fight goes long, but these fights aren't going long because PULSAR are being funneled into chokes, losing players before they can even attempt to get a 6v6 going. Strangling Prison comes on through, this time not blocked by the Emma. Twitzy tries to heal off of Cosmic Yawn Amplifier, but RAD just break it, and the rest of PULSAR's team.
It's looking a little bit dire for PULSAR as a map 3 is looking to be on the cards. PULSAR, like we've been mentioning, a series win here would put them into playoffs at least comfortably. For RAD, they still have good chances.
Chat.
It's not like they're going to get
Phoenix
eliminated
ult
if they lose
breaks
out on this,
all
but
shields
it certainly makes their lives a
and
little bit easier.
deployables. So if you put a shield in front of the Phoenix ult and the Phoenix ult hits the shield, it's not going to break the Phoenix ult. Your shield goes from full health to 0 right away. That's why usually when you're playing Doctor Strange and you have a shield and you're trying to like block damage and the Phoenix ult is coming down, if that Phoenix ult hits the ground, your shield's gone.
Soul Revival means that that's not going to be useful for this last fight.
Yeah, and that's a big problem because Crisis has Karmic Revival. PULSAR don't have burst healing up against RAD's ultimate economy. They can go for Heaven's Retribution.
Oh, he almost has another Star-Lord ult. Wow.
They'd be reliant on Karmic Revival bringing the players back instead, which is why RAD, they're just running the time down at the moment. They know that they don't have to go first. They know that when the fight moves to the point, PULSAR's position will be forced, and Karmic Revival could potentially mean that they're off of the objective to be able to pick it up. Heaven's Retribution comes from Lugia. Vertigo with the Soul Resurgence setting RAD to run forward, and Crisis falls off the map!
Crisis falls off the map.
So there's not even a chance of, like, if a Loki was still in play, that you'd be able to copy unless you jump down behind it. But I don't know if that's going to be the play or the plan for PULSAR. It all runs out in the end, though, as RAD finished the map. PULSAR get held on first, and a third map is on the way.
I tell you what, I know exactly what I'm doing when my shift ends. I'm running to that replay and I'm watching how the heck Crisis fell off the map. Oh, they were so reliant on Karmic Revival. They were like, yeah,
I don't know how fast the replay goes onto the server chat, but I was going to go next after this series where there's like that break, we're going to go watch to see how he fell off the map.
See exactly where we're going after this, whether we're going to see more from PULSAR.
Oh my god, dude. I mean, I don't think it would have mattered. I think they were going to lose the game anyways, but hey, this was a great series, chat. PULSAR dominated the first game. RAD dominated the second game. Who is going to win the third game? Yeah, this is the first game, Vicky. There should be a third option that streamers get for voting, that, you know, instead of picking one team wins or the other team wins, like, you know, how normal votes go, I wish there was a third option that says just steal channel points, because I think the people who vote against me don't deserve their channel points because they lost their they lost the bet. And then the people who voted with me, since they're so mean to me and say, J3, you made me lose my house, my wife, my kids, my stepsister, my stepbrother.
Hey guys, my name is
you guys don't deserve it as well, because you guys never trusted in me.
Halfway through the group stages of stage 1.
There's no us without trust, chat.
And the meta footprint that Devil Dinosaurs left us has settled somewhat. So according to the data, what are the teams discovering? We have to talk about what stayed the same.
Oh,
and the top
Ramir's
two kings of the meta
Nava with the
still
massive new
exactly
tier 1
the
sub.
same.
Appreciate
Gambit
it.
is
Appreciate it.
pretty
How you
much the
doing?
priority
Lord
when it comes to a first ban.
Palio,
appreciate
appreciate the massive 4 months.
I
And
think
Woods,
we've
appreciate the
spoken
massive
about him
sub.
enough. We all
Appreciate
know
it.
why. And Devil Dinosaur is still number 2. Teams are protecting Devil Dinosaur because everybody else is. The stats sort of line up that if you have Devil Dinosaur and the other team does not, you have a pretty decent win rate. So they're protecting Dino because when one team gets him, that team usually wins because he's so easy to incorporate into a composition. He's very good at shutting down some of the more like brittle duelists that want to be a little bit more divey. And so he's just a great character to sort of put in the middle of the map and honestly just build around. with the damage that he deals, the damage that he blocks, and just the way that he's able to stall and fight on objectives, yeah, Devil Dinosaur is pretty good and one of your mainstay vanguards for the time being. That's all standard. We could see that in the games that we saw last week, but what has actually changed? When it comes to big winners, there's none more so than Rocket.
Who do you think will win next match? What, between Navi and Virtus Pro? I think Navi might win. Virtus Pro seemed like a little bit
over the last couple of seasons is looking really good. The likes of Be Right Back is just an ability, very useful in these like long drawn out team fights where it gets hard to eliminate anybody because you've got the likes of Devil Dinosaur. Get a pick on Devil Dinosaur, or Be Right Back instantly brings him back into the fray. Yeah, it's going to be frustrating. The team up with Star-Lord is obviously very good because Star-Lord got
cries
buffed,
are cute.
and the fact that Rocket is very good with his survivability. The fact that a Daredevil or a Black Cat can jump on him, try to eliminate him. And
the reason I think Navi is going to win, because I think last time Navi and Virtus Pro played, Navi won. And on top of that, I think Virtus Pro has actually been showing signs of struggle a lot more than Navi. Virtus Pro is showing signs of struggle, while Navi is literally off-rolling and putting their supports on DPS and their tanks on support. Or they're literally trolling.
How much he is shot up the rankings when it comes to
I'll try one.
Protect priority, but also a ban priority too. And his win rate when one team gets him and the other one doesn't is pretty high. It's one of the highest I've seen so far. Like almost 2/3 of the time high. So yeah, he's good.
Oh, a calzone, like just sausage and what, egg?
One of the characters that benefits from him the most and is also pretty good answer to him got stronger.
Oh, because sausage, egg. If there's egg and sausage, I'll take it.
Ultimate, she benefits from Rocket's resources, damage boost into a solo Jean Grey when you're running.
Nice little switch.
Is a great
like that.
way to actually find eliminations in high sustain.
How do you feel about you losing your channel points here soon?
With Phoenix as pretty much become one of the major options for a duelist.
How do I know you're gonna lose your channel points? Babe, it's me. Have I ever been wrong in my life?
In popularity, some of the other options that we're trying to contest.
Chat, have I ever been wrong in my life? No.
And one of the major ones actually for losers is.
Listen, I couldn't beat you in Monopoly, but I can take your channel points in predictions.
Spend as much like capital guaranteeing access to her. A protect cost, she was.
What do you mean most of the time? Yesterday I went 5 for 6. Oh wait,
that hasn't really worked. Like the win rate is still pretty underwhelming, like under 50%. If a team gets Black Cat and the other team doesn't, they don't win the majority of the time.
No, I have to stay here for prediction.
As an option. So Black Cat just isn't providing that much when it comes to the draft. It just seems that teams are still playing her, but they're like, there's no point protecting her because it just isn't that.
So much time. There's 60 seconds.
Because we want to get some of the other characters out that we've mentioned instead if we can. It just feels like Black Cat is fine, but she's not super strong that we need to get rid of her fine or protect her in this case. She's just not being treated as a hero. But she's not the only one that's sort of dropped down. Like White Fox's popularity is
Navi didn't have a coach in the preseason, and now they have a coach for stage 1. I did not know that.
A good chunk. As Ultron, who
I did not know that.
Half as much as before. Not because
yeah, but they have Sparker, the best DPS in the world. Even when they put the graphic, his stats dwarfs Hera.
And that sort of attention needs to come from somewhere. I am really curious to see what we see in like.
You could have the best player in the world, chat, but I still think, in my opinion, Navi is a strong team and Virtus Pro is a strong team, and I do think whoever makes the most mistakes obviously is going to lose the game. But I do think no one's really weak on both teams, but I will say you are, as a team, you are only as strong as your weakest player.
Well, that was an interesting scenario for PULSAR Esports, to say the least, that had a very high and a very low towards the end, and a bit of a tumble. I
Surely
guess that
you got my team.
Moxie, I mean, you went in
PULSAR
game to see
winning
exactly
this, right?
what happened. Tell us what went down.
I mean, yeah, I said I would on cast.
I said
I
RAD.
had a 5-minute break. I booted up my game. I went into replay thinking, like, surely it must have been a push to spear coming through from Lugia. No, you know that sort of like gap in between the floorboards when you're trying to push slightly up to the high ground of Second Spider Islands on the right side, and then if you try and jump back, there's somewhat of a 1.5 meter ditch before you can actually get over. Unfortunately, Crisis fell through that 0 seconds before Soulbond came back online, which would have afforded him flight ability, and he would have been able to pass it no problem. So it was not an Angela Spear, can confirm. It was the Adam taking an absolute.
I mean, this is looking like a good game, though.
It just feels like the cherry on top of the way that map
Bayu,
went, unfortunately,
for 3 months. How you
this
doing?
Team of PULSAR.
You're kind of early. Matches started early today.
They were trying to turn
How can I
things
submit a VOD
around
for you to
towards
possibly
the end
review
when they were on the
through my
attacking side. It
Discord?
felt like they got some momentum.
Did they
Maybe
play
the
each other in the
usage wasn't as
preseason,
good as it
Navi
could
and
have
Virtus
been,
Pro?
and I feel
I
like
do
Lugia
believe
here,
they
Ryan, was
did,
part of
yes.
the reason. I mean, not going down once. Wow.
32-0. Oh my.
No counter dives that could come in from like DRP on like any Venom play. The whole warding off areas of the map, being able to like take some of these engagements, peel for his like backline, or have people dive in with him to take some of those early fights, as we saw going on to the likes of like Twitzy and stuff when he was over on the Star-Lord. And it's a good character. Like a lot of teams have moved away from it naturally, but it's like this is not going to be a priority to take out in a ban, right? So it means that if there's another map in this caliber,
does the losing team after this match get removed from the tournament or go to the lower bracket? There is no lower bracket. It's group stages and it's round robin. I think all the teams play each other once, and it's based off of wins and map score. The most wins, the top 4 teams move on to the playoffs. The bottom 2 teams are disqualified or relegated. They call it relegated.
We didn't see the Luna. Those are 2 that really shut down that Angela play that we've seen. And I mean, targeting Crisis was the way to go.
Smashnez went 38-1, and Crazy Kitty went 38-1.
Save, and maybe if RAD don't go for a second instant ban onto Luna, you go for the save onto it, so that you can then at least guarantee that RAD won't just chase down Crysis's whole map hero pool, because it's not just Crysis who gets impacted by that, right? It's also forcing Lapsus Atilas onto having to pick up different heroes that he can try and offset the ones that are available, and Crysis still has up.
It also kind of felt like Twitzy had to flex a little bit more towards the strategist when you saw that RAD just had a better look, specifically on the duelist lineup. I mean, Smashness here, Ryan. I
think they were running triple support.
Yeah, easy.
They were running triple support at one time. It was like they were running Rocket,
Mantis, Loki, double strategist,
Adam, and Loki, I think. But then
ultimates early on group. But again, goes to show how strong he is on that character, that even if the meta is leaning towards certain other vanguards, it's still fine for RAD to play around their strengths. I'd imagine for PULSAR, like that second protect over onto the Ultron can be like given up on omitted.
I don't know why your Loki player would play. Never mind.
I mean, what do we see coming out here, Moxie, with maps? I mean, what can they go to?
You want to avoid maps like Hull of Djalia, because that's where things like the Angela work, but it's also a very strong Phoenix map. So maybe if they want to try to go back to Ballas being the carry, coming on through with things like the Elsa and the Phoenix, you go there. But Symbiotic Surface is actually going to come through instead.
Did y'all notice that OF
subscription
subscription is getting more expensive?
Away from maps where a lot of teams have already seen the compositions that you want to play. But truly, I think
I've never
me,
used that.
It does not matter which map they had decided to go to unless something in the ban draft changes, because we all know that RAD will just go for the same strategy unless PULSAR circumvent it.
Well, why don't you take us into the ban draft? Let's get it underway.
For records, really not too much to go on
Jasmine,
for either side. Like PULSAR, not seeing this.
Also,
again,
wait. I don't know, chat. I'm asking a question here because I simply do not know.
Different squad. And so Devil Dinosaurs,
what do you mean OnlyFans subscriptions are getting more expensive? Don't OnlyFans content creators, because they create a lot of content, right? Don't they decide the base, like the sub?
Maybe even like the Invisible Woman might need to come back up into the rankings if they
they set their own price.
Well, it's also like if you're going for Crysis's hero pool, you're not, and they are going to continue to go for Crysis's hero pool. You're not going to be able to take out the Phoenix.
Don't pretend you don't know.
So you
I have never used OF in my life.
Time with the Phoenix for Ballas to have constant damage boost, which you potentially don't get access to. RAD could go for one-sided Luna Snow,
did the president of the United States put a tariff on feet picks?
Especially if PULSAR continue to try to go for this ultra
bro,
in that core composition.
That is crazy, bro.
Now Luna, Loki,
you are not getting your feet picks for $14.99. It's going to be $29.99.
Choice, because it at least gives Crisis
not in my goddamn country.
Yeah, there we go. Rad won't be able to target Aitsu, and you have to know, like, if the save there from the side of PULSAR was not Invis, if it was Ultron, Susan Storm would be the Invisible Woman for the amount of time that we would get to see Crisis able to play her, as Rad now take out
They
that
charge a
Loki
price for every
so that
video
they don't
or
have to
pick.
worry
It's not a
about double
subscription base
uptimes of
anymore.
Invisible Boundary plus regeneration domain, making it pretty problematic for Black Cat to be able to find her footing, as we'll have to see if this save onto Invisible Woman is the saving grace for
you know what I
Pulsar
think Pulsar
in
is
this
doing?
three-map
Pulsar is saving
series.
Invisible Woman because they
You'd
banned
have
it
to
last
say
time
just
from
generally,
RAD,
like,
and I think they were
protecting
saying that like they
Invis
have
would
like
not be worth it
a
for the majority
person
of
who
people.
plays
Like,
only
in this
Invisible Woman and
instance,
not really
yeah, if
anyone
there's a
else,
Mantis open, that
which
would
is
be
actually
protecting
really
Crisis.
crazy
If it
because
was
how
any
can you be
other,
a
like,
professional
strategist
player
that
and
would
not
play
have
it,
a
you would
very
be on it
flexible
protecting
like
it.
hero
In this
pool?
case, it's just giving
That's
them something
wild
play
to me.
around, because
If
other
you're a pro
options are
player,
just
you
way
should
too
be
limited.
you should
So
almost
PULSAR,
play everything
the
in your
ball is
role.
their court to make the right adjustments, and they're going to be the ones attacking first, as Rad now have to try and defend and give themselves the clearest shot of playoffs.
Good morning, good morning.
Yeah, we can already see Ballas on the Elsa Bloodstone wanting to relive the glory that was his run of
Okay, chat,
Krakoa,
last
where
map, man,
they
last
looked
map.
unstoppable. But when you weigh up their performance on Spider Islands in comparison, night and day difference, like a huge difference maker in the bad and after coming
Also, I
on
got this
through on the
thing.
side of Rad, but this time Pulsar are able to sidestep the impact of Crisis's
I'm gonna
hero
try
pool
this
being
thing, chat.
totally depleted,
We ordered
and
this
we go
thing, I'm
back
gonna try
into
it.
this brawl state coming on through from both of these teams. Blue are also going to be rolling out on the Vanguard Deadpool, wanting to have as much uptime on the ultimate as possible off of the sheer amount of damage you'll be able to do to Ducky.
Oh.
As Rad do have two ways of play, frontline for the Dino and backline disruption or full dive hits with the Black Cat and Cat.
So much Rad have to sort of shuffle back, and because there was that Loki ban in, it means Rad might be pulled away from playing the Groot, as you don't have that team up with Loki. You'd still have like the Mantis and stuff. You've got that one-sided, so PULSAR don't have access to it, but Crazy Kitty leaping in to see if he can
That
go
is
for fight up
crazy,
against
bro.
Crisis. It might not matter what character he
We're
plays.
gonna need a-
Crazy
that's
Kitty
nah.
might just have him on
We're
a
gonna need a
lockdown,
nerf
so
on
PULSAR
Black Widow,
still
bro. That's
shuffling
crazy.
forward a little bit, trying to decide whether they want to go in and out with this fight, but as soon as they start to press the S key, it feels that Rad are just going to dive in to see if they can get a little bit more ult charge.
Yeah, you can see
Black
Twitzy as
Widow
well,
has been
having
too
to
strong for
guard
too
his
long,
backline,
chat.
but also the position of the BRB from Lapsus. Like the fact he's putting the teleport network on top of it basically means if Pulsar scout Rad moving towards the BRB, Twitzy will be able to teleport back and guard
Big
off
pick.
of it. As Crazy Kitty goes down, which is huge, it means that Crisis gets much more opportunity to survive the oncoming fight as Blur pushes the team forward. Banhammer very early on picked up before Rad have a strategist ultimate to survive it, and that should allow Pulsar to start picking up point percentage, but not the full free ticks potentially.
Yo,
as
wow,
Rad could
Pulsar
decide
actually
to
bounced back
recontest.
from last game. I like that.
Not going to go in for the portal, and yeah, just actually trying to regroup because of how
Pulsar
awkward
doesn't
this
have that
second
weak
point
mentality
can be. If
that
they
my
can
ranked
sort of
teammates do. If
position
they
well
lose a
and take
round,
some of these high ground
their
areas,
mentals
it
are
means
boomed
that
and
might be able to
they
afford a
can't
couple
win a
more
game and they start
battles. And
trolling.
where PULSAR stood at the moment could be where this payload actually stalls, but a great first attack for them, and it's just being able to get the pick alongside that banhammer meant that they had enough momentum to build it into actual objective damage.
Here comes Apex Predator from Pulsar, and Ducky goes down. Galactic Legend from Twitchy tries to come through, but what a shutdown from Crazy Kitty. Catches him right
That
in the
Star-Lord
stop of
just
the
screamed and
Star-Lord ultimate,
died.
That would have been huge for Pulsar. Like, they would have been able to totally deplete Rad's players. No high ground position, no strategist ultimate up in time to be able to survive it. Now, if you're Pulsar, you're just fully reliant on Cosmic Ion Amplifier and the damage you can do off of base kit alone. Crisis catches Crazy Kitty yet again. Smash is having to use a Galactic Legend to just zone Pulsar back, since they have no way of breaking Cosmic Ion Amplifier, but this gives so much space up.
I am...
Very much a case of just using his high ground now, seeing if Rad, with like the strategist ultimates that they managed to bank up with the invisible boundary and the fate of both worlds, could do too much. It's a great freeze actually to connect onto Blur, but with that positioning, it's going to be hard to contest it. Another banhammer going to come through from Pulsar to see if this could be just a quick second checkpoint take in similar sense to the first one, but it's forcing out everything from Rad. In fact, those ultimates sort of almost lined up a little bit too close to each other with a calling card, the last thing to come out from Rad to go go in for this fight.
Uh-oh.
More stuff starting to
Gotcha.
build. You got the Captain America for more sustain if they need it, but PULSAR thinking that they've actually managed to get quite a lot out in the end and decided to back off a little.
Lapsus is able to move the BRB. Crazy Kitty clocked it, and Lapsus changes its direction. So they'll go for the rocket instead, try to break the cooldown that way, but it's a trap! Crazy Kitty gets baited into the Elsa snare. Fast does get taken down, and RAD are finding the picks, which eats away the space PULSAR has been able to so far pick up a closer hold that they feel confident to be able to take with this freedom charge up and available for Lugia to get.
Yo, come on, RAD.
As Twitzy
You
tries
can't.
to
You have to hold them here, RAD. Come on.
PULSAR's engagement opportunity. RAD, no strategist ultimate, but they do still have the cap to live.
They have so many good like duelist ultimates coming up, and then the freedom charge now is going to try to sustain things a little bit more for RAD in the end, but it's not going to be enough to stop. He's able to get two
They might have
before
lost
Mash is
two,
able to
but
snipe him out of the sky.
they
And you
do
think that that's one of
have
the biggest
Captain
win
America.
conditions. You don't have those strategist ultimates available for RAD just yet, but Ballas very close to having his own Apex Predator if he can find
Nah,
those
dude, this
eliminations.
character's crazy, man.
Unfortunately, though, in that backline,
That
everybody
character's
might
so
still be
crazy.
going down. Crazy Kitty is completely cutting any momentum out of PULSAR, even with the banhammer used to get that pick in the end. It still feels that they don't quite have the numbers. Luckily, the payload hasn't moved that far away from where these guys are coming from in their attacking spawn, which means that they have the reinforcements a lot faster than RAD.
No strange TP from
I mean,
RAD.
how can you
Full
fight back
roll
as,
line.
as Invisible Woman, bro? Black Cat is just too crazy, and on top of that, character being crazy, you have like the iframes and everything.
But that is the worry when they all tumble for a strange portal now. Ballas potentially looking for the Glartrox to grab players out of position, which is the reason why it's only Lugia teleporting onto point to be able to confirm that touch. There's the Apex Predator. Lapsus will Cosmic Ion Amplifier so the team can survive.
That's a cat for PULSAR.
Mash falls crucially close to his ultimate, which means that PULSAR are able to brute force the point and head into third.
Jeez,
I mean,
man.
the defensive spawn from the end of third is not too far away, so not having a portal for these next couple of minutes might not feel too egregious in the end, but PULSAR
Help me, I haven't played since season 5. I don't know if I could get back into it. Arc Raiders is the standard now.
So close together to sustain, and then also the Captain America ultimate from Lugia.
Oh my, I haven't played Arc Raiders in like a year. Then that game kind of like, well, I don't play it, but and I don't want to say the game fell off because I don't play it, but did it actually not like, didn't it actually fall off?
I mean, they have to be so paranoid about where Crazy Kitty can be, though, with how far the front line plays split from the back line on third of Symbiotic Surface. Invisible Boundary.
I remember like all the streamers used to play that game, and then like all the streamers just stopped playing that game. They didn't do anything against what cheaters and all that stuff, and stream sniping you can't really change. But the stream snipers and the cheaters.
Still think that it's winnable. They try to pair up the damage to be able to break through the heal up time with both the Rampage and the Star-Lord ult. Blur's brought back by the Battle Recall Beacon, but RAD still have gas in the tank and Ducky in the whole of PULSAR's team, rampaging on forward, which means that RAD should be able to establish some hold right now.
90 seconds left now on the clock, and like Lugia is going to be behind in some of the progression made for the Deadpools as he switched away from the cap. Blur is very much being using this momentum consistently out.
Someone said still more players than Marvel Rivals, though. Apparently, Arc Raiders has 46,000 players right now. Marvel Rivals has 55,000.
Has gone absolutely feral alongside the rest of RAD to send PULSAR all the way back. They're going to respect this space, reset, make sure the PULSAR don't have much to work with.
He's just been an absolute highlight reel.
Also, Crazy Kitty
so far on Symbiotic Surface. So too, though, has Ballas. Like, these Apex Predators have been so good. RAD being very cautious, not wanting to stack all of their team up, understanding the Elsa ultimate is good to go on the side of the attack.
Kitty, man. Crazy Kitty going crazy on the kitty.
Banhammer, but Smashners will go first instead, forcing out the Cosmic Ion Amplifier. Good Guardian Shield Stagger coming through from Vertigo.
Oh my god, man. The Smashnez has been ulting each time, and they're throwing down the rocket ult, and then he gets no value and just dies, and they roll him.
Now, if they want to be able to touch onto the objective, they have to go directly into the Glartrox.
Feels that there's these strategists building up these ultimates, not really cycling them out very well. It's like 90%, 80%. Great for RAD, but not if you use them together. Banhammer is going to be the way to actually go in for this fight, and Vertigo finds that pick over onto Blur. It's going to be taking out a one Vanguard down for PULSAR. That now it's getting to 10 seconds. You got to be expected to run in and touch.
Damn, dude, his movement and buying and everything is crazy.
It's going to lead to the eliminations, even through this fate of both worlds from MASH. The picks are aplenty, and now you need to worry.
Oh, no one touched!
But
They got got 2 kills. They Luna ulted. Pulsar got 2 kills through the Luna ult, and they just forgot to touch the point.
Oh.
Even professional players, chat. Professional players.
Oh, that could haunt them. With how close it's been between these two teams, that absolutely could haunt them. Especially because if you thought Crazy Kitty was problematic on defense, he's about to be just as problematic on the attack. Like, Pulsar's back line is constantly
if they lose this game,
be able to mark out where the black cat
and they lost because
they're
they
not running the Daredevil, they're not matching the black cat, so there's very little they actually have to be able to gather information-wise outside of just scouting Crazy Kitty's presence. But
look at the stats difference, and they still stopped it there.
Perfect for being able to sneak your way into those.
Smashnez is 9-5 with 0 final hits and 16,000 damage.
Gotta say, like, these stats are making Blur look very good over on the Vanguard Deadpool. And, like, on attack, he starts off with it early. Banhammer leads to first point take. He's able to make those, like, progressions to buff up whatever bits of kit that he frankly wants. He was very much a star in letting PULSAR actually, like, make some moves over on that attack. It's still a good position for it to end in. It's not, like, a complete worst-case scenario. But now RAD have a very clear line. And, yeah, I see Lugia go on Spider-Man 2.
Lugia is on Spider-Man.
J. Jonah Jameson. Okay, no, Lugia won't continue to be as much of a menace that he was on Spider Islands. At least not on Peter Parker. He'll move on to the other hero with the red costume, and that will be the Vanguard Deadpool, as Smashnez applies a little bit of token pressure. Ducky on the ammo actually means that RAD have a lot of brute force potential to just shove Pulsar off of this high ledge and let them be so much closer, just dropping on point and walking at RAD when they've been able to build up that first banhammer. But Blur is already ahead of them. In fact, he's already got it.
What's up, Chris? In break time at work, this is B.
He's to find his target, and while Smashnez is building up the dopamine with all of these headshots onto the Devil Dinosaur, he's not going to be able to pale in comparison to a banhammer available this early. But one of the things that has led this way is like Blur, okay, wants to go for this counterattack now on the defense to push these people back. But in these moments, Crazy Kitty has been exceptional at trying to find these eliminations. Unfortunately, though, the peel is just a little bit too hard. He's got too much of the focus. All 5 players from PULSAR turning around to deal with him.
The fact that he goes invisible, he's found, he uses the iframe to teleport, and then he goes back invisible. That's crazy, bro.
I mean, it was also great.
The things that you can do on this character are wild.
Going on to a strategist, went on to Lugia go. Then you split the back line from the front line. You catch Lugia, which means that you actually fully reset his
remove
Vanguard
the invisibility
charge because he goes
can't
down.
remove the invisibility from her.
Oh,
what an air ball, bro! Oh no.
Position, but Lugia's been able to break through, and that means that Crazy Kitty is
on
an
no. You cannot be doing that, bro. You cannot be doing that.
And RAD have finally been able to break through first point.
And they have so much to sit back on too if PULSAR want to go aggressive. You got DRP that went for the Strange, but
you cannot be doing that in a very close series, man. Ballas is better than that.
Remains to be seen.
Also, if you remove the invisibility from Black Cat, I think she'll be useless.
Legend, it can
I think a lot of her kit
on the targets that he wants
is
to go
from
like
the thing that you're buying the most is invisibility.
It's a major move for the attackers as they're gonna try and force RAD out to be a little bit more offensive. So PULSAR now have to give up some of the space. This picks are still coming in as all of these players try to shelter themselves into the alcoves, but Crazy Kitty on the Black Cat is already there to cut through them just as easily. Great play from RAD to go off the ultimates, but also getting that Bira back sent themselves a grand old fight.
Hey, Smashnez got a final hit.
Did make the most out of the stall that they had. DRP making sure he goes down on objective once PULSAR knows they've given up the fight, secures them one more opportunity at taking a fight before we go into final fight territory on second here. And RAD could potentially be burned out of a lot of their ultimates, which would then bleed into snowball potential for third. Crazy Kitty with the calling card, just waiting on the walls. Lapsus Attilas makes the first move. Cosmic Yarn Amplifier plus Galactic Legend. The Crisis is taken down instantly. Vertigo with the ultimate catches all of Pulsar's players as they navigate from choke. And there's just too much damage for Crisis to be able to stand up and use Invisible Boundary in the next fight.
Wow, Crazy Kitty. I feel like Crazy Kitty is like one with this character.
Been absolutely feasting on these. There might not be 9 lives left for PULSAR if this defense keeps going the way that it is, but honestly, this is a pretty good job of them to keep on stalling. It felt that the fight was lost maybe 35 seconds ago, and actually, the fight wasn't lost at all. It was just a bait and switch as suddenly Ballas has found himself some lovely picks to send RAD all the way back to spawn.
And there's the value of DRP going down on the objective in the fight before. PULSAR able to bleed RAD's ult economy out with only the Galactic Wedge and Cosmic Gun Amplifier, and then DRP ending off the fight with Rampage to slow RAD's disengage, which means that Ballas could get behind them and set up all of the shots.
I don't know, I feel like that's going to kill the character.
Has the Apex Predator, RAD reliant fully on Fate of both worlds, but this early pressure could potentially force them to use it before they even get to see the objective.
Not my job to balance the game, so I'll let them deal with that, chat.
Territory, and RAD, if they lose steam, won't be able to complete the second stage of the fight.
Banhammer going to be used. Apex Predator on the other side for PULSAR, and the invisible boundary is going to be matched up against with the fate of both worlds as all of these teams going for this mad scramble. 2 minutes left. It almost feels like there's 2 seconds to go with how much has been forced out here. But Smashlight is the first one to find a pick over onto Blur. Back is going to bring him in, but then Lapsi Sotilas goes down without the help of his own bit of utility. Galactic Legend stomped out of the sky. Jurassic Park on the side of PULSAR.
Dude, when you pop your Star-Lord ult and you get hit with a stun or anything like that, that sucks. Oh my god, dude.
Moving things on might have been enough of a stall to actually go in for this portal, and now there's maybe a glimmer for PULSAR to stop things as they go in. The players are still coming back in from the reset, so now it's still going down one at a time. They managed to actually keep a hold of the points, so that progression needs to be flipped back over for RAD, but you'd have to imagine that this one at a time drip feed of picks for PULSAR isn't going to land holding onto this point much longer.
Remember, this is where
PULSAR were missing the crucial
this is where they C9
chat. Contest, and that was Twitzy. He went down super late.
This is where they C9. And is it going to bite them in the ass?
Vertigo had the invisible boundary, but off of the damage done in the portal contest, he's been able to build it up, which means that if PULSAR used the solid ult to open up the space, Vertigo will just react with the invisible boundary, or Ducky could even use Sonic Seduction to be able to shut it down. Ducky's going to start with the Emerald ultimate, which means that Crazy Kitty takes advantage of everyone
that's insane, dude.
Cover. No full shield Vanguard means that PULSAR had to fully block line of sight with the tree roots, and Crazy Kitty's able to
that might be
catch
GG's.
the
That's
whole of the
GG's.
back line. Blur falls, Twitzy
That's
down
GG's,
through
bro.
the ultimate, and that will be RAD finishing off the map in style.
Wait, PULSAR dominated that first game of the day, and everyone was screaming at me. Hey, yo, what's up, Dad? How you doing? Wait. PULSAR won the first game of the day, and all of chat was hating on me because I said RAD was going to win. And now that RAD won, where's all you guys that were shit-talking me earlier? Oh, Jay3, you lost my channel points. You lost my wife. You lost my kids. Jay3, you made me lose everything. Bro, where's everyone at now? Fake. Fake, chat. Fake.
Did not prove to be enough towards the end there.
Tell him, son. Thank you, Dad.
This kind of boils it down a little bit too much, but do you think it's more of just like a synergy experience difference between these two
poor
teams?
Emily, though. Emily put 150k on PULSAR.
I think it's lack of flexibility on the side of PULSAR's backline off of just the heroes that Crisis is able to play, and then the amount that you can see getting done off of the flexibility
that next game is going to be an
Ducky
insane game.